This podcast is being recorded on Kaurna land. We honour and celebrate the strong cultural traditions of motherhood, family and connection to country.
How Motherhood Changed Me is brought to you by Harrison Macmillan, Australia's leading recruitment firm run by women who live by values that make their mothers proud.
No woman can say motherhood hasn't changed her, but every mother's story is different.
I think it's a lesson in how little research there really is about athletes, female athletes returning postpartum, but particularly water polo. There's absolutely nothing out there. So we were really just trial and erroring and just going by what we thought was right. And, you know, when I did come back, I had to, about maybe week 12 postpartum, I really had to backpedal and come right back to basics and work back on my pelvic floor because it just wasn't holding up to the training demands that I was asking of it.
This is How Motherhood Changed Me.
Hello, I am Kerrie Turner. And I'm Jenna Yates. Kez, we're all super mums in our own way, I guess. But I feel like we can describe the mum we're talking to today as a genuine super mum.
Hands down.
You might guess from our get up today if you're watching the video, but she's just back from the Paris Olympics, her third games she's competed in. But this time around, Kez, she did it as a mum.
What a star.
Amazing.
Love it.
Her little girl was there in Paris with her, along with her husband. And the social media clips from inside the athletes' village this year, they just were incredible.
I think this was the first time I've seen such inclusivity for families and kids and for mums. Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. To top it all off, she's come home with a silver medal. What an absolute champion. Keesja Gofers, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's really a pleasure.
You're like, look at these freaks in there. Aussie, get up.
No, I love it. I'm so here for it. I wish I could dress up as well.
You're like, it probably gets a little bit tired for you now. You're like, when do I stop wearing my Australian tracksuit?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, weird that you say that. I wore my Olympic uniform to daycare today because the preschoolers wanted to meet the Olympian and see the medal. So it never gets old.
I love it.
So good. Now, Keesja, before we jump into our chat, could we get from you one word that would describe the woman you were before you became a mum?
Yeah, one word. I would have to say focus, even to the point of single laser point focus, which, definitely is a bit of a difference now that I'm a mum. Like you can't just do just one thing because you've got, a little one to look after. So definitely would be focused.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
You just can focus on something. It's not like 50 million things going on all at once.
And put all of your attention into that one thing because there's no little people to have to consider.
And I suppose that focus, you channel that, you become a professional athlete. Tell us how it all kicked off for you. We were talking before about water polo, and maybe it's not one of those really obvious sports you get into as a little kid. So how did it come to be for you?
So my sisters, they played water polo. So it's a classic case of I want to do what my big sisters are doing.
Yeah.
And my one of my sisters, Teleri, actually went to the Beijing Olympics. So, I played and I enjoyed water polo, but when I watched her, that's when I really decided that I wanted to be an Olympian one day as well. And, it took me, she went to Beijing. So that was in 2008. And my first Olympics was Rio, so 2016. So it took me a little while to actually get to that goal, even though I had been in the Australian squad for 8 years at that point. So I think for me, it was such a lesson in that, you can get to the top 10% of the people who play water polo in Australia, but to get to the top 1%, to get to the Olympic Games is just this another level. And then now that I've come home with a silver medal, that's just another level again. And so it really shows, and that's, again, 2 Olympics later. So for me, I think if I was going to choose another word for me before motherhood, it would be taking the very hardest road possible to do things. But, I think being determined in those 8 years prior to making the Olympics, because being an athlete it's about natural ability, and but for me, and I know for many athletes, it's about determination, focusing on goals, and overcoming obstacles to really achieve them. And that's what I don't know if what came first, really, a bit of a chicken or the egg. Like, was I a really focused person, and that's why I was able to excel in sports, or was my journey through being an athlete what made me super focused, because I truly had to be. So yeah, I don't really know if it's chicken or the egg, which one came first, to be honest.
I have to tell you, watching you girls compete, I'm sitting there on my lounge and watching you tread water, and
Oh, I know.
it's just, I mean, honestly,
I was tired watching.
yeah, I can't imagine the training that goes into that, Keesja, and how fit you have to be.
Oh, absolutely. They say, not me, but they say that water polo is one of the toughest sports that there is. And, we train very, very hard. And the good thing about the water is that there isn't that impact on the joints. Whereas, your other sports,
So true.
there's just a limit to how much you can train, because, your body just can't handle all that impact again and again and again. And the water really takes that away. And for me, during pregnancy, during postpartum, that was also just such a game changer. I could come back so much quicker because there was just less impact on my body, and then but when you move up into higher levels, of course, there's the contact, there's the wrestling, there's so many different components of water polo. So while initially it does make it easier to get back into it, like, I suppose when you look at the big picture, when you look at what you have to achieve, the level you have to get to, it's not an easy task.
No,
not at all.
And I think one thing that a lot of people probably don't realise about professional athletes is that for many of you, it's not the only thing you do. You also have a job on the side. I mean, you're a florist, right?
Yeah, I'm a florist. I also study teaching.
Wow.
Wow.
So, I mean, let's get to the motherhood side of things. How the hell do you do it all?
What a juggle.
It's a big juggle. And I think it also required a lot of help.
Yeah.
There was, I think for me, there were so many challenging parts about being able to come back to elite sport after motherhood, and even just being involved in a semi-professional sport like water polo. There always is a juggling act, but it did mean so many positive things for me. So when I would go on camps, which, might be interstate, might be in Sydney, but basically require a full-time commitment. And, our trainings, first of all, go for 2.5 hours every day. So twice a day, and then plus gym on top of that. So I could be out of being able to be a mum, or unable to look after my daughter for upwards of 9 hours a day. So my mum would literally live with me to help, because my husband, we weren't able to have him take that much time off work.
Yeah.
So when I look back on the entire journey to getting me to the Olympics, to back to elite sport, I think about how I was able to spend so much more time with my mum when I was a mum. And that's been really special to me. I think that was something that is unusual, to be able to be afforded that in this society. We talk about maybe in years gone by when it took the whole community, and the grandparents were able to help while you were there. And now I think I have to go back to work, and I'll give you can look after my child for me. But I was able to look after my child with my mum there. And I suppose that really gave me confidence confidence, I suppose, in my abilities as a mother, and in my decisions as a mother. And I think it relieved anxiety for me, because I know when I first had my daughter, I was so stressed, and that could have, if I did it alone, or if I did it without my mum's guidance, I think I could have continued being a very anxious parent, but I saw how relaxed and how, how easygoing my mother was with it. And she's had 4 children. So, she knows what she's doing. And I learned so much from just being able to not necessarily what she was doing, but how she was doing it. And I feel incredibly grateful that I was given that opportunity, because it just really wouldn't have happened if I didn't pursue going back to sport.
It's that village that we always talk about, and it makes me feel like that's how it should be. We should have an elder there showing us the ropes and showing us how to do it. Really lovely that was your start.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. I think there's so much wisdom in people that have done it before you, and I turned out all right, so I trust what she's doing.
We all know that it takes a village to raise a child, and our friends at Harrison Macmillan know that it also takes a team to build a successful business.
And they're here to help you find the right team members.
Mums understand the value of asking for help, and businesses should too.
Harrison Macmillan specialises in recruiting top talent, so you don't have to go it alone. They have the experience and network to ensure you get the best candidates.
With over 500 clients across Australia, they are well known for their people-centric expertise.
They don't see themselves as just a recruitment agency, but as your strategic talent partner committed to meeting your unique staffing challenges.
And outsourcing to them means you can focus on what you do best.
Visit harrisonmacmillan.com.au to learn more about how they can support your business, just like a village supports a family.
Now, Keesja, it was 2023 that you became a mum. At what point did all the training start for the Games? Because I imagine you would have only had a little baby still.
Yeah. So for us, obviously the Tokyo Olympics was pushed back a year.
Yes.
So we had only 3 years, not 4. And, for me, I always had one eye coming back to the Olympics. But while I was pregnant, I really tried to focus on what was the best for my baby. So I did do some training. I loved being in the water when I was pregnant, but by no means was I fit. But to do what was best for my child, I also thought that going to the gym and keeping up, pelvic floor strength and things like that were important for my baby. So when I had Teleri, I had a relatively smooth labor and everything, and I had a great medical team that supported my preferences in regard to how I was going to deliver my baby and what I really wanted to avoid in order to hopefully get back to playing water polo.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they were amazing. They were absolutely incredible in that. So I was able to come back to training 6 weeks after I had Teleri. And I was at my first Australian camp 10 weeks later. At 10 weeks postpartum.
Wow. Amazing.
So yeah, honestly, I felt good. I felt ready to go.
Yeah.
Obviously I wasn't anywhere near the level that the other girls were at, but it did prove to be a little bit too fast. So it's a lesson in not so much, listening to the medical advice, because I did, and we were all on the same page, and I did what I was told to do. But I think it's a lesson in how little research there really is about female athletes returning postpartum, but particularly water polo. There's absolutely nothing out there. So we were really just trial and erroring and just going by what we thought was right. And, when I did come back, I had to, about maybe week 12 postpartum, I really had to backpedal and come right back to basics and work back on my pelvic floor, because it just wasn't holding up to the training demands that I was asking of it. So that was a huge lesson for me, because first of all, injury is always tough for athletes, no doubt about that. But an injury that you can't really, you don't feel pain, or you don't see it or anything like that. So it was really difficult kind of mental battle to really go back all the way to basics, so that hopefully, and that's the thing, you don't even know if it's ever going to be okay, but hopefully be able to be strong enough to deal with everything else that you want to do. And eventually I made those foundations and I was able to support all the training I wanted to do. But it was so important early on that I really focused on that. And, you know, I would go to training at 5 a.m. and lie on the ground and do pelvic floor exercises while everybody else jumped in the pool. You know, and that's a tough place to be, you know, but it was so worth it. And I really commend all the medical staff that helped me, because it was just the difference between basically 6 months in saying, okay, I actually can't do this, as opposed to 6 months in saying, okay, I feel good in my body now and I can push it a little bit more. So yeah, it was a huge game changer to have all that help and that advice.
And Keesja, the fact that you were lying on the ground doing your pelvic floor exercises, at least with your team, like what a team player.
Yeah.
You could have just lay on the floor at home and done those, but you were there with everyone else watching them in the pool. Like, well done. That is mental toughness right there.
I think as well, like when I couldn't do it, you know, you're juggling sleep deprivation, you're juggling hormones, the emotional roller coaster of leaving your child to begin with. I think a lot of the time what motivated me was my team, knowing that they were training hard to achieve our goal. And, you know, getting myself to the pool was the hardest part. And then once I was there, it's like, okay, well, I love being here, but I also love being with my daughter. So I'm going to do everything to the best of my ability right now. I'm going to make the most of every minute right now.
Make it count.
Because I don't want to waste a minute, you know. So that was so important to me.
I love how you say it was really trial and error, and there's so little research in this area. And I think it's worth reminding ourselves that it wasn't that long ago that women would become a mum and it would be like, that's it. You're done. Nothing else for you. It's home with the kids. And many of us still have that mentality when it comes to their career and wanting to tick everything off before you get to motherhood. But you and so many of the other amazing mum athletes that we saw this year, in particular, thanks to the way Paris sort of
opened their arms,
celebrated mums, really. It's such a good example for us that it doesn't have to be it for you. And, you know, motherhood really is just the next chapter and you can still pursue your dreams. I just love how, this was really championed this year.
Oh, absolutely. Having gone to the Rio Olympics, you know, Tokyo is a bit different because there wasn't any people that were able to come in, but it was so different. You know, Paris, as you said, opened their arms to families. There was the nursery that we used a lot, but there was also just families walking around the village with their dads, mums, whether they were athletes or coaches, and it really opens your eyes to just how many parents there really are in the village, and they're taking on different roles. And I think it is such a exciting time. You know, I still had people that questioned my decision to come back and really thought that it wasn't the right thing to do. But I think more and more people are seeing that in all walks of life, all professions, that you can make it work. And I think you can make it work if you are lucky enough. Like, I consider myself extremely lucky to have an amazing mum who was able to come and support me, an amazing husband who's always been my biggest cheerleader and always asked, you know, how are we going to do it? Not, you know, we can't do this, or it's always, how are we going to make this work? And, you know, to be in a financial situation where we can make a loss this year and it's not going to mean we're on the streets, you know, but that's not everyone's situation. And I hope that one day it becomes even more normal, even more accessible for everyone, because we're still not there, of course, but we're taking great steps in the right direction.
Keesja, have you noticed a change? I feel like with the Tillies and so many, I mean, I know the Tillies didn't medal at the games, but the way that we've all rallied behind those women, and I think it was like so many more women won medals this year for Australia, and it was our best ever performing games. Do you feel a bit of a shift in the way women are perceived in sport at the moment? I feel like it's really an awesome place right now.
I could not agree more. It's amazing to be involved in, and it seems to have shifted so quickly, and that's awesome to be a part of it, to see it, to experience it, to feel that excitement around women's sport. And I think it's also that excitement about, I guess, women don't have to fit one box. They can look different, they can talk different, they have their own personalities, their own narratives, and I think we're getting more and more into that. Whereas previously it probably was a bit one box, one size fits all, and if you don't fit that box, then the media doesn't talk to you or look at you or whatever the case may be. But now I feel like there's so many voices out there, and it's a really exciting time for women in sport, and I can only see it growing, to be honest.
Totally.
Yeah. Now, Keesja, you explained you set your sights on making the Australian team for Paris. You trained your butt off. You got your pelvic floor back to where it needed to be. Then you make the team. Can you describe that moment for us, that you'd actually done it?
It was just the most. So basically, we get a phone call to say that we've been selected.
Wow.
And it was from our high performance manager. And of course, she had things she had to tell us beforehand and then things she had to tell us afterwards. Beforehand, I was just a ball of nerves and just needed her to speak faster. And when she told me, I immediately just cried. I just couldn't. I couldn't believe that that it was real. I think because more than ever, this Olympic selection was such a team effort. Like as I said, my husband, my mom, my husband's family, my family,
coaches,
my daughter,
teammates,
my coaches, my medical staff, everyone, they were so much a part of this journey for me. And it was just such an amazing feeling to get that call. Then she had to tell me all this other things.
And you weren't listening by then.
Don't tell anyone yet, and all this. And I was thinking, please, like, I need to just call everybody I know. Like, so I need to get off the phone.
Please, can I at least tell my husband?
Yes. And when I hung up the phone, so Teleri was actually asleep, which was perfectly timed. Never happens like that. But she was asleep. And I thought, okay, maybe I should wake her up. And I thought, what? No.
She doesn't understand yet.
She doesn't understand, and like she literally never, like, at this point I think we were getting like 20-minute naps a day. Like, it would have just been ludicrous.
Yeah.
So, but it was this weird feeling that I wanted to celebrate with her so badly, because in reality she was part of my motivation. Like, she is just such a firecracker, and I would watch her try and do something so many times and fall flat on her face and try again. And I would take that into training. I would be like, okay, well, she's going to fall flat on her face. I can push a little bit harder this swim set. I can try and do something that I haven't done yet in the gym, within reason, of course. But and it was this crazy feeling of, I want to share this moment with you, but also logically knowing, like, you have no idea what's going on. Don't wake us up a 12-month-old baby.
Nope, you never wake a sleeping baby. Nope.
That's it.
It was really nice to see that play out when we watched the games, and also in your socials, and just the love and the joy with your little girl and your husband when you'd celebrate with them. It made me really emotional, actually.
Oh, well, yeah, I was really emotional as well. I think, my husband, he's not an emotional person, and to see him be emotional in some of those moments was just, I mean, it made me even more emotional, right? It was just amazing, because he knows what we've been through, and he knows the journey that I've been through throughout all these Olympics. So, and my entire water polo career, and the setbacks and the highs and all the lows. So, and my daughter, she, as we just said, she doesn't know really what's going on, but she is so much a part of this. And I know, even if she doesn't remember, but I hope that she'll understand just the vibe, because we love her so much, and we did this to be the best parents for her, because we believe that when you're pursuing your goals, you know, that makes you the best version of yourself. So I hope that, you know, if throughout all of this, that's something that hopefully she takes away, and hope that we can keep reinforcing to her. Not that you have to win a silver medal.
No.
Not that you have to win a medal, not that you even have to make the team. But for me, it was that I wanted to give it a go, that I wanted to see how much I could achieve with her by my side.
And from a girl power perspective, you know, the role model that she has growing up.
Incredible.
The barriers, look at my mum did that with me being a little tacker there cheering her on. Like, I can only imagine it's going to be such a positive drive for her in her life, no matter what she chooses to do.
Yeah, and I mean, she can do whatever she wants to do. But I also think I was surrounded by all these amazing women, all my teammates, day in, day out. And they fell in love with her. She fell in love with them. So as much as I could be a role model for her, I know that those other athletes are also role models for her, to see strong women, you know, determined women each and every day giving it everything. So it's not just within our, you know, within our house that happens. It's the whole world, you know, that women are going out and achieving their dreams.
The match with America, and that goes to the penalty shootout. I mean, oh my God, that was just so exciting. How was the celebration after that? And I need to ask because, of course, then you've still got the gold medal game to play, but you're like, I mean, worst case scenario, we're silver medalists here.
Yeah.
Like, how exciting. And also going into the games, did you kind of know that you were in a really good position to medal? Like, I'm fascinated to know about the mental strategy, because it must be so much pressure, but also so exciting.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's such a good question. I think America have, for the last two Olympics, even before, have been the dominating force of women's water polo, and they are an incredible team. So that win was truly amazing. Truly, like, just an incredible moment for our team. And afterwards, it was, I mean, like that night, the next day, I was thinking to myself, I'm walking around, I'm a medalist. Like, you can't see it, but I'm telling you, I'm a medalist.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got this big grin on your face. And, you know, a lot of the Australian people obviously knew about our results as we followed other sports as well. But it's honestly, it's the real feeling of, I don't know what color it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to have a big shiny thing hanging off my neck, you know, this time tomorrow.
I'm going home with a medal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was an incredible experience. I mean, the last time I had been in a gold medal game with the Australian team was back in 2013, my very first World Championships. So it had been a long time since I had thought to myself, I'm going home with a medal. And so that was incredible. But on the flip side, it was incredibly difficult to then think, okay, but I have to stay in the moment. I have to think about the next game, you know, and a big thing for our team was game by game, moment by moment, not getting too far ahead, not thinking too far in the past. So that was something that was a real challenge. And I think for myself and other members of the team, I remember I saw Teleri that afternoon, the day in between, the afternoon at the nursery. And as we just spoke about, no idea anything's different. She doesn't know that I'm going to have something shiny around my neck the next day. And so that was so humbling to me. And it really brought me back down to earth, you know, like no matter what happens, I'm still the same person. I'm still the same. I'm a mom, and you want my attention right now. You want to play with me right now. You want me to read this book right now. And that's what's important right now. Yeah. And it was interesting in the sense that whenever I went to the nursery, I was quite good at being like, okay, no matter what happened in the game before, this is me and you time. And that day, it did take me a little bit longer, and my husband as well, and Scott as well, to really be like, okay, let's leave water polo for a second, because this is our time, this is our family time. but by the end of the hour, I was definitely there. Like we had spent a great, 45 minutes playing together, and I walked out of there being like, okay, like like I was ready to live in the moment. I was ready to take the day as it was rather than thinking too far ahead or thinking back to the amazing win that we just had. So that was that was another part of being a mum athlete that I didn't expect and I didn't know was going to happen, but it was such an amazing, you know, what would you call it? Symptom, I suppose. And
Totally. She helped
Yeah.
ground you.
And it's almost a
Yes.
welcome distraction so that you're
Yes.
not consumed by just the results and what's to come and what you need to do. You've got to switch off, be mum, read the
Yes.
books, play the games, and then go back into prep mode. Such a beautiful
Absolutely.
distraction. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I told the rest of my team when we had our next meeting that night, and I think it was a bit of a grounding moment for them as well to know, okay, it's all consuming for us right now, but there's more going on, and it doesn't have to affect me in a negative way, because that's the thing, right? When you have this amazing opportunity to win a gold medal or to come home with a medal, it can impact you negatively. It can impact your sleep. It can just get you thinking too much, get you out of the present moment. So, I mean, I hope that Teleri was able to help the team as well as me. And in terms of going into the the semi-final, I think we had this, and no one really spoke about it, but this kind of calm about the team.
Yeah, I
And
saw the
this-
captain talk about that actually, and how the coach said, calm, clear heads, or whatever was the motto, and it was so beautiful because it actually genuinely came across.
It did, yeah.
When we were watching you, and all of you seemed to be having the best time. It really, really was so beautiful.
No, definitely. I think that's the beauty of team sport, and in particular this team. We support each other. We enjoy each other's company, and we enjoy playing together. And yeah, that day, everybody, and we all spoke about it later, had this calm about us that, we were 5-2 down at one point, and that's a considerable margin when you're talking about the world best team with the USA, and nobody panicked. That would be a time that we might previously have panicked and started taking opportunities that weren't probably the right ones.
Yeah.
But we didn't panic, and we grinded away and we grinded away. And the reality is we weren't in the lead in that game until the very last penalty was saved. We never took the lead, and yet nobody panicked in that entire game. And we just had each other's backs, and we I wouldn't say we went in there knowing we were going to win, by no means, but we had this confidence in ourselves that if we did our best, then we were in with a good shot.
There certainly, it translated that there was a real sense of belief.
Totally.
That genuine belief, and that you had each other's back. You were a real team. Like the description of a team was that water polo side.
So true. Yep.
Absolutely.
Going back to Teleri grounding you, I just want to say it reminds me, we had a conversation with actress Teresa Palmer, and she was talking about how she has to travel with her kids and she has them on set with her often. It makes her a better actress to have her children there. And I just want to ask you, if your daughter wasn't there in Paris with you, do you think you would have felt the same way? Did she grounded you, but as a mum, that fuel and, those little lessons and stuff that she taught you and you were able to carry with you, do you think you would have performed as well if she weren't there with you?
So I don't think so, for a very short answer. So when I went on 3 international trips after rejoining the team, after becoming a mum, and that Paris was the first one that Larry came on. So it's just not within the scope of the program to support like a carer and Teleri coming. Yeah. So she wasn't able to come with me. And those trips were incredibly difficult, especially the first one, when our World Championships to Doha. It's, in the scheme of things, it was 3 weeks, but 3 weeks without, and that was the first time I'd been away from her at all. So 3 weeks without, seeing her, without caring for her, feeling that guilt of being away. And I definitely felt such a huge difference with having her there in Paris. She wasn't able to stay with me, and I only saw her for limited time per day, but seeing her is so much different in real life to over Zoom.
Absolutely.
And just having those moments. And, I knew she was cared for. I knew she was supported and loved, and having a great time when I wasn't there. But to just be able to hold her and to play with her and to see everything that means so much to you as you walk out to play the first game, play the last game. When I was able to see them, and Scott would always hold her up,
She had her little T-shirt, your name on the back. I loved it.
Different outfits.
So cute.
So I just think being able to see them, and that it just meant the world to me, and it definitely helped remind me why I was doing it, and remind me that no matter what happens, and I, don't get me wrong, I'm a competitive person, but no matter what happens, I am loved, and I love, and that's really important. And I think for a lot of athletes to know that you are more than your sport, to know that you're a friend, you're a daughter, you're a son, a sister, mother, whatever you are, you're so much more than your results. So, the results went our way most of the time, this tournament. But even if they didn't, I would have walked away and felt incredibly lucky, not only to have been there, but to be a mum, to be in the life that I am in right now.
And gosh, I hope they learn from this and, excuse me, in future games, we have a similar setup.
Adopt that
because,
absolutely.
mums and dads are sacrificing so much to represent their country. Any athlete is, but particularly those with little ones. And, it can be such a beautiful experience for everyone in the family. And for those of us watching on, I still have, Keesja, the fondest memories of the Sydney Olympics and being a little girl and going and being in the village, not the village, but, Homebush Stadium. Just, it's electric and it's exciting. And as a little kid, I was pathetic at sport, but it shows you can do anything, and you can, it's just a really awesome vibe.
It makes you believe that
it does.
Maybe I could make the team one day.
I'd be more like Eric the Eel with my swimming, but, I probably gave it a little bit of a go at my sports carnival that year.
Why not?
I think for me, a lot of athletes, and myself included, do it for the little girl like you talked about, who watched and loved sport and wanted to be there. And I think a lot of the Olympics is about the kids. It's about inspiring them not to do sport necessarily, but to go after their dreams.
Yeah.
And so to make it go full circle, to have daughters and sons and, to have children in the village, to be embraced in the way that Paris did, I think it's beautiful. I think it's really what the games are about.
And I also want to ask you for a bit of parenting advice here, because looking at your little girl staying in that stadium, she was excited, but how did you
all the snacks
and your husband get her to be so gorgeous and patient there while you were playing? You were playing, but what's the secret?
Honestly, I am shocked, as much shocked as you are. I have no idea. Because when we were planning when I made the team and it was like, okay, Scott's going to come and, all the logistics, Scott was like, okay, I'm really nervous about the flight. And reality was she slept for lots of it and was a dream for him.
Perfect.
And then he's like, I'm really nervous about especially the 8 p.m. games. Her bedtime's 7 o'clock. So I think the answer was snacks.
All the snacks.
And all the snacks. And she also loves being the center of attention, is the wrong way to put it, but she loves people, and she loves the camera, and she loves she probably finds us really boring because now she's surrounded by big lights and fancy things, So I think having so many people around and so many cameras and so many like exciting things happen, was right up her alley. You couldn't get her to sit and play with one toy for more than 5 minutes, but put her in a stadium full of people, full of lights and noise, and she's happy for an hour and a half.
And there's so much to look at, to be engaged with, and to even if the attention span is only short, there's something else to look at, and then the snacks come out, and then there's something else to look at, and then another snack, and
Would you look up in the stadium to see her?
No, I didn't. So once when I talk about the focus that I had as a pre-mum athlete, I lost that immediately as soon as I had Teleri. And I really had to work on, game time.
Yeah.
I have to be focused.
Totally.
I have to be focused on what we're doing. And that's for myself and that's for the team. That's what's needed. So I had to really train that again. And that's probably the one time where I'm not thinking, I wonder what Teleri's up to. I wonder if she's okay. So how I managed to achieve that was, especially at the Olympics, which is, there's so much that can happen between you seeing them the day before and you seeing them at the game. And like your mother's instincts, well, mine catastrophize and think, oh, they're not here. What's happening? So I would make sure that I saw them before the games, like as we were lining up into the stadium, and then I would switch back into water polo mode and know, okay, everything's all right. They're safe. They're having a great time, and I need to focus solely on my job right now. So that's the only time that I really have trained that ability to solely focus. But I'm sure there'll be moments in life where I can train it again. But it was just so interesting to me once I had my daughter to be like, okay, well, my brain is now in 7 different filing cabinets trying to figure out all these logistics. And so that's been wild to retrain in that sense, but also to know the capabilities of a mum's brain.
Totally. It's nice to find that calm too, though, I'm sure, for you in the water, because as a mum, you do need to check out sometimes. It's all consuming. You lie in bed going with everything in your mind. But if you can find a place where, you're just Keesja and you can, switch all of that off for a moment, it's actually really nice.
And impressive.
Impressive.
Let me know how you do that.
Yes.
Well, I'd love to do it, when I'm lying in bed rather than the Olympic final.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, we'll keep working on it.
Train on it. Bring out some yoga zen vibes for you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, can we see the medal, please?
Oh, yes. So it's actually in its box, which, as I said, normally it lives in a box. But because I took it to daycare today, it's in the box.
It's a fancy looking.
What's upside down?
The big reveal.
Wow. Yeah. Well, the kids love the reveal. So here.
Wow.
It's huge. Look at it.
Look how thick it is.
Wow.
This is, which I actually love. This is the part of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh,
beautiful.
Is it? How cool is that?
And then this is, I think it's different on each medal, so you probably can't see. But there's like the Acropolis for how it started in Greece.
The tower.
And then there's the Eiffel Tower. And then it has a little engraving saying in French, you probably can't see that, but women's water polo tournament.
Wow.
Yeah. And honestly, it's really heavy.
So the Kairos had a nice bit of business out of you since wearing that around your neck?
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say, when you've got a little baby, you would develop a strength you didn't know you had in your arms. And now you'll be able to utilise that for when you cradle your medal.
True. When I go to the shop sometimes, people will be like, oh, how are you so muscly, or how do you have such strong arms? And I'll be like, oh, won't talk about water polo. I'll be like, oh, carrying my baby around. She doesn't like the pram anymore. So it's funny you say that, because maybe they'll be like, why do you have such a strong neck? Oh, just carrying my medal around.
Just being my medal. I've just been doing the vacuuming with my silver medal on. Is it going to live in the box, or is it going to be a special place for it in your home?
I don't know, because I feel like, you want to be able to get it out and show people. So, but then the box is, I don't know. I honestly think it'll end up in the sock drawer. Just protected, but, out of the way. I don't know.
And easy to
So
access.
I really don't. Easy to access. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I actually, people, have asked me that and I really haven't got a good answer. But I'm sure something will happen.
Oh,
So, Keesja, you've got silver. Is there unfinished business? Do we see you in LA going for gold?
I'm not sure what I'm going to do moving forward, but I definitely don't feel like there's unfinished business. I came into this Olympics not like hoping for a medal, knowing we could achieve a medal, but I didn't need it. As I said, like, I feel I'm in like the lucky era of my life, and I'm so ecstatic that we have this medal, but it's just that it's not part of me necessarily. It's a great little bonus, but I am incredibly proud of our team for what we achieved. I'm incredibly proud of myself for being there and for giving it a go in the first place. So for me, I've ticked all the boxes, and medal or no medal, I would have said the same thing.
And what a special bond you and the rest of the team have forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will you get a
Absolutely.
tattoo or something? How do you celebrate it?
Well, I don't know. I actually don't have an Olympic tattoo. A lot of the girls, who have competed in other Olympics have, and I wasn't going to get one, and I don't know why, but I don't know. It feels like something I should do, right? So you might see, like, instead of wearing the medal, I just have it
Tattooed across.
Yeah, across the face, just so everyone knows. I don't know, but yeah, we're definitely bonded as a group, and it's, as I said, such an awesome group to be a part of. We had a lot of fun, and you learn so much about each other. You're in each other's pockets, right, for months, and in this case, months on end, and to know people inside and out like we do, and to enjoy each other's company like we do, is just something so special, and something that, you don't know. I don't think you get many other places. So moving beyond water polo in my life, like, I think that's something that you definitely miss, that real teamwork where you depend on each other, but you also, as I said, enjoy being with each other.
I know when it can come back out, Keesja, when you coach your daughter's netball team or something like that in the future.
You'll be like, I don't know if you know, I don't know anything about netball, but let me show you something that I do have. That's the other thing too. I think if ever I want to be the authority on anything, I'll be like, I've got a medal. I've got a medal.
Do you add it to your Instagram bio? I don't know what you can do. Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Maybe.
Silver medalist. With life.
With life, exactly. On my CV. Silver medalist. So, silver medal. Not quite the best, but almost.
Almost the best.
Oh, too good.
I love it. Now, Keesja, focus was that word that you gave us right back at the start on describing yourself before you became a mum. Now that you are a mum, a silver medal mum, what is one word to describe the woman that you are now?
Oh, I mean, that one I don't have a short answer to. I mean, the reality is it's not focused anymore. I'm able to focus, as we talked about, but I think I'm, trying to do lots of different things. But nurturing, perhaps. Like, I think when I think of my role as a mom, I want to be a nurturing mom. When I think of myself within my team, I hope to be able to help and nurture the other athletes. And I think more than anything, I've learned to be more loving and nurturing of myself, less self-critical. And I think as an athlete, you're taught you have to be better, you have to fix mistakes. And I think self-love and self-care are something that motherhood has taught me, because I don't want my daughter to be so critical on herself like I have been for a lot of years. So for me, nurturing is something that is more of what I am, but also what I'm striving to be. for in all facets of my life.
That is so beautiful.
I love that. Yeah, I love it.
And I guess you know your body's capabilities more after you become a mum, and especially you then going back to professional sport. It's like my body is so much more than how it looks or anything like that. I just love that.
Absolutely. I think was just amazed at what my body was able to do. Not being an athlete, I'm fully aware of the limits I've pushed my body to in terms of strength, speed, that type of thing. But in terms of motherhood and not even just the things that are associated with motherhood, breastfeeding, giving birth, things like that, but also the limits you can go to with no sleep. Like that is just, I was like on limited hours of sleep, and I was just amazed that I could
function,
make sure my child survives the day.
You find a way, don't you? It's absolutely wild.
You find a way. And that is, you don't have to be an athlete to learn that. That is just something so cool that I'm just so impressed with all the mums out there for whatever their story, whatever their situation, just getting through those really tough days of like no sleep. Oh, that's impressive stuff.
It is.
Keesja, it has been so nice chatting with you and getting to celebrate this with you. I mean, you're a few weeks back from Paris, and we're so honoured that you came on to chat with us so quickly. And while the buzz is still there, I don't know how long that lingers for. I can imagine you've got at least the rest of the year to ride that buzz wave.
To wear the medal to the shopping centre.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly. Sign your Christmas cards off as silver medalist.
My family would be like, okay, we all watched
you're done now.
It's all right.
No, the Christmas photo has to be the three of you and the medal. Yeah. I mean, it's your second baby, really, let's be honest.
That's right. That's right.
But
exactly.
you are a super mum. We are so proud of you, and it was so awesome to watch you and your whole Stingers team. The girls really represented this year, and we're proud to be Aussie women. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to be on the show, and I am so excited for shows like yours to talk about motherhood, talk about female athletes and like who are mothers as well. So for me, it's actually a privilege to be on your show and to help maybe another mum want to come back to sport or even pursue her dreams and whatever that she thought she wouldn't be able to do after becoming a mum. So no, it's honestly my privilege. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us on How Motherhood Changed Me. We'd love you to be part of the conversation by connecting with us on social media. And if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review and subscribe.